Welcome to Virtual Flight Diaries. This is another episode of Flying the Dukes, and we are here to talk about the environmental control systems and the pressurization systems. Since they're kind of in the same wheelhouse, we're going to talk about both. The environmental control system is controlled by this temperature mode selector, and there's two things. There's the cool side, and then there's the heat side. So the cool side is operated by a 16,000 BTU refrigerator type cooling system, similar to that of an automobile. And it has a scoop on the right engine because the unit's in the right engine somewhere about here. And this scoop actually has two modes. This is ground mode, where it's full open. And then there's a flight mode, which is only like half to a quarter open. And it's triggered by the landing gear. Once there's a pressure switch in the landing gear, once that pressure switch is activated, it will put a stop on it, and it'll drop it down to its half mark. So, like I said, the air conditioner is operated by the right-hand engine, and during ground operations, it actually puts a load on the engine, more so than in flight operations, but there's always a bigger load on the right engine. So you actually have to, when operating the air conditioner, you have to monitor your temperatures. You can use the EDM 6760 to make sure that we're not overheating our engine, especially in ground operations in a hot day. So the modes. So we got blower, which are the same on both sides, and all that is a fan that sucks in ambient air. You have auto cool, which then will adjust to a temperature range of 50 to 76, set up on with using this controller. So you would go this side for cool, and then you would push it to this side for hot. So the way this system's modeled is that the cool side will only cool and the heat side will only heat. So whatever the ambient air of the cabin is, so depending on what you have, you would need to choose whether to heat the cabin or cool the cabin. So it's 80 degrees. We want it less than 80. We have to turn it on cool. You can't set it to 76 degrees on heat. It won't work. That's just the way it's modeled. So auto cool runs using the controller unit there's temperature sensors in the cabin, and you can set the thermostat to whatever you want, and it'll maintain that temperature. Manual cool is max AC. It's on 100%. It's for fast cooling. If you leave this on, it'll go straight. It can cool the cabin down to 50 degrees. Same with the other side. Auto heat, if we wanted it warmer than 80 degrees, we would turn on the auto heat and then adjust it with the cabin temperature control. You have maximum heat, which is on full blast, and then, like I said, blower's the same. So that's the controls. What's interesting about this unit is the heat, especially. So the engine needs to be running for air conditioning. The heat does not. So if we want it, so what it is, the heater is a gas powered combustion heater. it uses fuel from the left-hand tank. You can hear it turn on. And we're just on battery, so you don't need the engine to heat. And as you can see, we're climbing in temperature. So what this is doing is drawing avgas from the left-hand side engine, from the left-hand side tank, and burning it. And it burns it at about 1/2 gallon per hour. So if you're running the heater, you have to take into account that it's going to be burning fuel faster on the left-hand side. You can actually get, after a while, get an imbalance in the fuel system. You can see we just pumped a whole bunch of heat into the system. So let me show you the I'm going to show you the air conditioning system. Got the air conditioning system on. Now we put it on auto. The scoop is out, so the system is operating. You can actually see with the tablet the air conditioning system running. And you can see we're already starting to cool down. It's kind of warm. So you can see the circulating fan. We can actually increase the fan. And increase that that cooling factor by going maximum cooling. Alright, so we're going to taxi out here, and I'm going to show you the scoop trigger for flight mode.
TOS, system test okay.
So the more air that comes across the condenser, the more air conditioning we have. So we all know the checklist says we need to shut off the air conditioner, and that is only if we need maximum power, maximum takeoff power from the engines. If we don't, if it's not a high density day and we have a long runway, we don't need to turn off the air conditioner. And I've found this out by reading several manuals uh, for the Beech Duke, and also I've I found a wonderful website called the Duke Flyers Association, and I'll post that as a link below, and also a link in the channel to the website. And it's everything you wanted to know about the Duke, all the manuals, maintenance, and so forth. So I'm going to show you. As you see, as our power went up, our air conditioning increased. So I put the gear up. See, as I put the gear up, the air conditioning scoop went into a flight mode. So it's not a pressure switch, but rather a switch that's triggered when the gear come up. See, now that we're running power, our air conditioner is working full blast, and it's cooling and cooling. So we can actually come up to auto. And set so we can get a nice comfortable thing. So I mean, if you want to cheat, you can actually look at the cabin, and it will show you what temperature you set it at right here. So pretty much, just so you know, the standard up and down is 70. But we can go, so if you just go to the 11 o'clock position, you got 69.7. And that's it. So as we climb higher and higher, it's going to get cooler outside. So we're going to end up switching to switching the heater on. And I'll show you some tricks with the heater and explain what the heater is. So the heater, the gas combustion heater in this thing is pretty good, and it'll warm up the cabin. But when you get up into the flight levels, that's when it usually can't keep up with the air coming in to the inlets. So the air that it's using is too cold for the combustion generator to heat it enough to keep the cabin cool or keep the cabin warm. So that's the air conditioner, and you can. So this thing actually does have air resistance. It's roughly. Let me check my notes real quick. Get it right. It is roughly 4 to 5 knots difference with the air conditioner on. So I'm going to see here. And if there was a malfunction, you could get actually a full deflection of about 10 knots. So it actually can affect your aerodynamics. So I'm gonna see you guys up into flight levels so I can demonstrate the heater. So we're now at 25,000 feet, and you can see we have our heater on max heat, and we're struggling to keep the temperature up. It should be noted that this gas combustion heater is notorious for failing and pumping in CO gas into the carbon monoxide in the cabin. And that's why we have cabin CO detector in here. So if that fails, that'll go off and let you know. And then there's different procedures that we can do to shut off that cabin or that heater. Well, one, you would shut off the heater, but then you can close off the different things. And just to show that, so the cabin circulating air is these right here. So you got the pilot air. When it's in, it's at its maximum air. And you can, so if that heater was going off, you can close that valve and shut off the heat from coming in or from coming in from the heater. Push it in, it's on. Pull it out, it's off. This is the cabin circulation air. Pull that out, it's on. So you can use this to actually spread the heat throughout the cabin in the using those controls. So you can see we're struggling to maintain our temperature here. So what we have here is a nifty, these two handles here. We're just going to slowly pull them out. And what they do is they actually close off a wastegate and redirect the air over our very hot turbochargers. And then it is pumped in from that system, and it helps the heater out. You can see we're starting to climb back up again. It's the the gas heater just can't keep up with the negative 20 Celsius. But another thing you want to make sure is you want to understand is that you only want to use these as open as possible. For one, it's going to get really hot in here. Two, you're increasing your chances of carbon monoxide coming into the cabin when you use them. And that's pretty much the heating system. So, onto the pressurization system. So the pressurization system is operated by the turbochargers, and it is necessary for the engines to be running for the pressurization system to work. So pressurized air for the cabin is taken in from the turbocharger compressor and is reduced to a usable source via a sonic nozzle or a Venturi nozzle. Once sonic velocity is reached, production of pressurized air is then introduced to the cabin at 4 to 5 pounds per minute per engine, for a total of 8 to 10 pounds per minute into the engine, maintaining a differential of 4.5 psi. The pressurized air seeps in through vents in the floorboards of the plane, and it is controlled by a emergency wastegate or emergency pressure release, and so the air pressure, so the pressurized air that it uses is sent in through an intercooler, and that intercooler, before it reaches the cabin, actually cools the air because it's 800, 900 degrees going across that turbocharger. So there's an intercooler system that cools the air, so you can use it for so it's not, and filters it, so it's not it doesn't smell like gasoline or exhaust, and it is not smoking hot coming into the cabin. But the air intakes are on the outside, the wing root right here. This is where it's getting its air for pressurization. There is a stop valve on the engine that prevents cabin air loss in the event of a loss of power. So I'm just gonna shut down an engine here so you can see we're at our proper altitude. Now it should hold when we lose an engine. So we'll see. As you can see, we're still maintaining cabin pressure here at 25,000 feet. Because this engine's still producing 4 to 5 pounds per minute of air, and on this side, the stop valve is preventing air from leaking back out. So we can continue to fly at this altitude. At a pretty good clip too. So let's Let's fire this back up again. It's called a windmilling start. So we did lose a little cabin air. Oh, no, that's the generator. Nope, we didn't lose any cabin air. So, if we lose both engines, how long? Let's see how long it'll take to... Boy, that's really quiet. So we lost both engines, so we have no pressurization. So we're losing cabin pressure pretty quickly. So if you lost both engines, you would have to descend. See if I can windmill start. And you can see now that the engines are working again, we're repressurizing. So you need your engines running. You need both engines running to pressurize the cabin. One engine loss you can maintain, although there will be it will lose a slower leakage though. So you have time with one engine. Dual engine failure, we got to do an emergency descent. Oxygen on, the whole 9 yards. So yeah, so it's getting a little, see now the cabin's 83 degrees, using those turbochargers to heat the cabin. So we can just push those back in a little bit. You put it on auto, so there's less air coming in. And you can just fiddle with it until you get the cabin temperature that you want. I like to try to keep it around 72. It's comfortable for me. So climbing up here to 25,000 feet, I did notice this is full throttle. Before the update, it was up here. Now after the update, full throttle at 25,000 feet is more realistic. So looks like they did some fixing. Anyway, so that's the system. Just remember the heater uses the fuel from the left-hand tank, so you're going to be using more fuel at about 0.5 or half a gallon per hour, and you can end up getting an imbalance if you have a long flight. So you'd have to cross feed to balance it out. Other than that, that's the environmental control system, guys. It's a very simple gadget, but very complex. If you want to learn more and in depth, go to that website. There are all the manuals for the Beach 2. That's where I got this information from. I didn't even get it from Black Square, but Black Square got it down so pat that it actually works using the manuals from the actual aircraft company. So I think that's pretty awesome. So that's it. Thanks for watching. If you like these videos, please like. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And on to the next one. So clear skies and smooth landings.